Well, hello. Welcome back to All of the Day. It's been a little bit, but it's summer vacation, so we're all running around busy, and this is the first weekend, I think, where we've all had Sunday free. So, Cheston, how you doing?
Feels good to be free.
Yes, free at last, free at last.
Free at last. Free at last.
No social obligations for the time being. Setzer, how
No,
about you?
we're free.
Oh,
Wait.
we're free, free, free.
Yeah.
Setzer, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, well, that's good
Yeah.
to hear.
And yourself?
I'm okay. It's it's summer, so it's hot as hell. Ready for that to be over.
Can we talk about Funko Pops?
Sure.
Yeah,
So I
why
think
not?
I've been exposed as someone who doesn't own Funko Pops,
Sure.
except for one that I put in my son's room because he shares the name with the character. But anyways,
Is it Spartan Locke from Halo 5 Guardians?
yeah, I found the one and only Halo 5 Guardians Funko Pop. It was a real find. So I was at this local outlet mall, which is a terrible thing, and I found a board game store. And the board game store was all right, and they had this big Funko Pop section. And I didn't think anything of it. But it printed on a little piece of printer paper on the Funko area was a sign declaring that they kept up to date on all of the Funko prices on the internet. So I had no idea. Are Funko Pops something that people like? Is there some kind of weird investment economy around
It's
Funko
like
Pops
Beanie
now?
Babies.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like where it'll be like in 5 years where they find out there's a whole bunch of them, of specific ones, and they're worthless, just like Beanie Babies were. Is my guess. I guess I have no proof for this thought.
I usually see them at Target or Walmart for 10, $12.
Well, you got like convention exclusive ones, which would be the really rare, quote unquote, rare ones.
And so you think that's what the board game store traffics in?
They probably have a
Question
couple of
mark?
those. It's like
Yeah,
how when
yeah.
you go to a comic book store, they've got like random, really expensive action figures from somewhere. Like it's probably something like that.
I just thought that was really odd because I don't know. I thought the Beanie Babies had some kind of aesthetic qualities to them, but I mean, are there people who really think the Funko Pops don't just kind of look goofy?
I mean,
Um,
I personally think they all look like
I
shitty,
mean,
but
I have one, and that one is a regular humanoid, and I don't think he looks that strange.
I have one because Goose gave me a Vegeta with a Badman shirt Funko
See,
Pop.
I thought you were about to say that he gave you a vagina, and I was going to be very
That would be
confused.
very strange. No,
Funko vagina.
but
Oof.
I've only seen one that is visually appealing to me, and that would be the Cuphead Funko Pop because it looks pretty much exactly like Cuphead does. But otherwise, they all look really dumb to me. So I
Setzer
just
a
don't get
Funko
it.
Pop years ago. Which was that? Maz Kanata? Was that the one I
yes.
bought you? Okay.
Yellow Yoder.
Is it still on display?
Um, it's either in a box I didn't bother to unpack after I moved, or I may have sold it, actually.
Oh my god.
Well,
I
I hope
may
you
have
got more than
regifted
retail
it.
price. No, it's fine.
No, I regifted it to the used video game store that also sells Funko Pops.
Mostly the idea of giving you a Maz Kanata was what filled me with joy. Don't you have a Titanfall 2 Funko Pop? Or
I
is that not a
think
Funko Pop?
I
I thought it was a pretty
did.
slick little thing.
It might be a Ninja
I had a
Droid.
little Titanfall 2 guy,
Yeah, I thought that one was
but I
pretty
don't
cool.
think I have that anymore either.
Oh, well, that's a shame. Do you still have your
Yeah.
Hyperlight Drifter art book?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I've got
alright.
that. That's confirmed to be
Oh, good.
in a
It's like that.
box.
Man, that's a gem. You can't get rid of that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a beautiful game.
That is a beautiful game.
I just can't get into it. I don't understand it, but I guess if you're like a fan of like this really obscure cartoon from the 80s or something, and there's no merchandise and you desperately want merchandise for it, I guess there's a pop for you. So that's cool.
Finally, a Courage the
Yeah.
Cowardly Dog Funko Pop.
Where's my Dino Saucers Funko Pop?
Where's
like Extreme Dinos Funko.
what's that sumo? There's that sumo show.
Super Duper Sumos.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. Is there a
The
super
one where they
duper sumo?
slam their butts together or whatever.
Yes. The ass clapping. Yes. That show.
That's disturbing that was a kids cartoon.
That show is lewd, like butt ugly Martians.
Wow.
It's
The
kind of
less said about that, the
off-putting to
better.
look at.
But Ugly Martians. I can't say I thought about that in a long time. Probably for the best. That show was disgusting to look at. Well, now that we've got our Funko Pop Collector's Corner out of the way, stay tuned next week when we talk about it some more.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. That's a nightmare.
Let's see. What have you guys been playing lately? Setzer, I know you've been busy with entertaining folks, but have you been playing much of anything?
Yeah, I've gotten into Monster Hunter Rise at long
Welcome to the
last.
club.
Yes. I do enjoy me some monster hunting, and I was skeptical of Rise at first because I really didn't like the Crutch Claw from Icebreaker, Iceward, whatever.
Whatever the world expansion was.
Yes, and
Iceborne, isn't it?
sure.
That sounds like it.
What's a crutch claw? Is that like the wire bug?
It's like the wire bug insofar as it's a gimmick, a mechanic that, was kind of pushed out there without the intention that it would ever reappear in the franchise.
There's a wire bug.
So the clutch claw, mockingly referred to as the crutch claw, was a tool that lets you grab onto a part of the monster and like tenderize it so it would be more vulnerable to damage.
Okay.
And this was very annoying because it meant that monsters had inflated HP and defense values, and in order to force you to use the claw, which just wasn't very cool. So I was very skeptical of a gimmick mechanic like that in the wire bugs, but I've come to accept them and enjoy them for traversal, and I like the learning curve of learning which direction to dodge with the wire bug after you get hit. Other than that, I've mostly been focused on learning a new weapon, Insect Glaive, which I have not really played so much in previous games, so that's been a lot of fun too.
Well, how's it going for you? Like, what are the difficulties of learning it?
The Insect Glaive, you've got the insect and you've got the glaive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest pet peeve with the glaive in past games was having to tediously send the bug out to a specific part of the monster to get a specific buff and then call it back. In Rise, they've introduced bugs that get two different types of buffs with one sting of the monster, which greatly simplifies that process. And they've added moves that let you get the buff from hitting the monster directly, so you don't have to wait for the bug in the first place, which gives you a lot of flexibility. The other half of it is, the glaive is a very aerial weapon. You do a lot of jumping, flying, floating, dashing. Unlike other weapons that, certainly have their own movement techniques, but none put so much emphasis on aerial movement and vertical movement, right? And that's like a whole new world of monster hitbox understanding. Just bizarre to me that you're incentivized to kind of jump in the air and dodge around the monster, hit the monster. They added a combo system for Insect Glaive aerial moves now, so the more moves you do in the air, the stronger they get. So if you combine that with a big heavy hitting move like the Diving Wyvern, you can get some crazy damage numbers. But now, it used to be pretty safe in the air from what I remember experimenting with the glaive in past games. Now they've adjusted a lot of the monster hitboxes, so it's every little hair, every little spike on the monster. If you touch that and you're not in an attack animation, you're getting knocked out of the air, and you've got to start all over.
So you got to be on your toes.
Yeah. So you've got to be very judicious about how you move in the air now and how you time your attacks, which, don't get me wrong, that's a fun challenge, but you also need to know now the monster's moveset when you're standing near it at its feet, right? For grounded melee combat. And you need to know its moveset from the perspective of being up in the air, dashing around. And if you are going to use the bug in the traditional capacity, you have to have a little bit of insight on how fast your specific bug moves and the window of opportunity in the monster's attacks and that sort of thing. So there's a lot going on with the glaive, man.
So the thinking man's weapon.
I don't know. I haven't played enough of the weapons. Like I would say something like Greatsword is probably the thinking man's weapon.
No, that's what I use, and I assure you, I'm not thinking much when I'm like, oh, how do let's do the vertical slash because it gives me big numbers. Let's do that one.
Yeah, but the Greatsword, you got to be careful about your timing. Whereas the Glaive, you've got a lot of tools to work around your own mistakes. So
That's fair. You do have to think about where you're aiming and the timing and stuff, but just seeing number go big, very satisfying. So,
All right, Monster Hunter newbie question.
sure.
Because I did purchase this game. I just haven't started playing it again since the trial. But during the trial, the one thing that stuck out to me, the one question I had, besides when do I get to all those bosses that Derek told me about, because I played for a while and I didn't get to anything crazy. But, anyways, I know they're coming. The
Yeah.
Palamute, the little doggy that comes with you, what does that do? Is it just for riding? Is that it?
it fights with you.
So
No, okay.
yeah.
Do you
I mean,
like
if
do
you're,
anything with it? Do you raise it like a chow? Do you give it a little
you can
pet
get more
pet?
equipment for him,
Okay.
like different armored weapons that do different status effects, and over the course of the game, you unlock some new like tools for him to use.
Okay, and the Palico, the cat, does that do anything?
Fights also,
Also
Yeah, he
fights.
also fights with you,
but
and
you can't
you
ride him.
unlock new weapons, armor, and tools for
Okay.
him. And you can adjust his behavior so that he like focuses on buffing you, focuses on healing you, focuses on doing damage, stuff like that.
Can you do that from the outset?
Yeah,
Why didn't they have a tutorial on that? Or maybe they did.
I think they
I think they
do,
did.
but you have to
Yeah,
go try to create a palico before they tell you that stuff. I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I was planning on starting over anyways, so I will, I guess, heed the directions a little closer.
Well, once you get better, like the stuff you're doing without any bosses, are like so you get through them so quickly once you know what you're doing. That
Well, I was getting through them. I mean, I was having a great time.
okay.
but it
I,
does take a while.
there was no point where I was like, man, this game's boring. I want to get to the stuff Derek's talking about. It was more like, man, there's stuff cooler than this. When does that happen?
Yeah, I feel like World was very similar in its startup. I don't remember because it's been a long time, but I feel like it was a lot of like getting used to the world before you fight your first big boss. But World was different because like it was one giant level you're going through, and this one is like kind of like a mixture between the portable games and World, where you're kind of like in segmented levels. But I really enjoy Rise. Now that it's finished, I kind of want to go back and play through it again because I did enjoy my time with it quite a bit. It reminds me of like a PS2 game. Like it's just a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, I'm quite liking it. I'm HR 60 something, and I've unlocked the MR stuff, the very first MR stuff, but I got my ass kicked by Hermitar of all things.
What does that mean?
So
HR 66.
Hunter rank.
so
Oh.
well, kinda. So first you start the game at LR, low rank, and once you go through, a ton of LR quests, you unlock HR, which is high rank, and then high rank has all the monsters of low rank, except they're harder, they have new moves, they're faster, and you unlock a lot more challenging monsters that are like, built from the ground up to be more challenging, right? And then your HR high rank is also your hunter rank, which increases numerically as you kill more of these monsters, right? And at certain HR increments, you unlock new monsters to fight. And then you get to MR, which is master rank. And that's where all the hardest monsters hang out.
Yeah.
MR was not in the game when I played.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
They
weird.
typically add the third super difficulty in,
I gotcha.
an expansion or something.
So, do you mostly play like with randoms online? Like, because Derek kind of scolded me for playing mostly solo.
I played. Yeah, I always played with
Mhm.
randoms.
So
Okay.
do I.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, at some point, you pretty much have to. It seemed like the well of single player only content was running dry for me. Fairly
Yeah,
quickly.
I mean, the monsters are all soloable, but there's some stuff like the Rampage quest and some of the new monsters in the expansion are definitely designed for like a group activity.
Well, when you're not doing
I'll go back.
this like the story content or whatever, when you're doing like you go to that lobby and you sign up for specific monsters or
Hub
whatever.
quests.
Yes, I feel like those are balanced around the assumption you're with multiple people.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely, I agree. But I didn't go get those. There's like that lady in the main town square who I got my stuff
Mhm.
from.
Oh, okay, well the story quests are all solo. That's what I did those solo. I didn't mess with people for those.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, wait,
Like the
what?
village quests you're talking about,
What
Cheston.
story?
Well, it's
Yeah,
not. It's loose. By
Okay,
story,
all
I
right.
just mean single player
you
content.
Okay,
you unlock story dialogue and cutscenes every few hunts.
sure. Okay, all right.
But it's just like there's no story. There's no real story in these games. It's just
No.
Well,
like
monsters are there.
window
They're bad.
dressing. Yeah, yeah,
Monsters come back. You must stop them.
exactly.
Well, it does have a final boss.
You and
So,
this giant ass sword, or
or
insect
not,
glaive, whatever.
or
Yeah,
lots
Or
of different
or a
things.
whatever's
bow, or I don't know, a javelin, or whatever. Actually,
But yeah, village quests are kind of meant to do alone. Like I think you can have people for them, but they're pretty easy. The
should I
pub
do those
quest,
first before I do the other ones? Or
yes, yeah.
yes, you
My
should, because
advice is
it'll.
power through the village quests, and then you'll unlock
so do the quote
quests.
unquote story.
Yes, that
Yeah,
way you can learn the monsters for when you fight online.
Okay.
and also you get like as you advance in the village quests, you unlock like license quests that let you skip parts of the hub quests you
Gotcha.
for monsters that you've already done in the village quests.
Now, Derek, you told me that randoms on Monster Hunter are notoriously stupid.
Depends. Japanese people definitely stupid. If
Well,
Well, you
well,
are a known racist.
they were when I played. They might be better now. But when I was going around, if you saw like hiragana or katakana, I was like, oh no, uh, they're
Was there a
gonna.
worse version, like between hiragana and katakana? Did you know, like, oh boy, based on this, based on this syllabary, this person is fucked.
No, I mean it's like when you're playing a I don't know, like a shooter or some other online game, and you see like someone that's obviously a child.
yeah,
You
yeah.
like know it's probably going to go poorly, and when you see a
Like
Japanese name, you think it's probably a child, and they're not
yeah.
good.
Like I
I
said
will
last
say
time,
this,
inverse Splatoon
Japanese
effect.
players, they're way more likely to do like social behavior, like using hunting horn or helpful items that like heal your team, or way more likely to capture. But they're also, in my experience, more likely to faint. So
Yeah, that's the thing. They faint all the time.
yeah,
I always capture. I've heard that you shouldn't, but I always did when I played. So
Capture what?
monsters.
yeah. So instead of killing the monster, you also, in some circumstances, have the option to put it to sleep.
Yeah, when I would
Huh?
play pub, I would always
Yeah,
What?
capture.
What do you mean? You kill the monster? I don't understand. You put him to sleep?
yeah. You can put down a trap, like a pit trap that causes them to like
Okay.
fall in a hole,
Why
or
would you do
a
that?
shock trap that like
You get more
electrocutes them.
resources.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's certain things that you only get by killing the monster, and certain things you only get by capturing
Okay.
it. So
This game has a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, it's like an onion.
yep.
Yes, and it's just like an onion.
That's why this game may seem like it's lacking tutorials, but compared to like the PSP crap, it's like it's like a
Yeah,
handholdy
it's
game.
more approachable than the
Mhm.
PSP games for sure. I mean, the thing that overwhelmed me the most was the inventory, because you start with just seemingly shitload of items, and half of them I was like, I don't know what to do with this. But I don't know. I didn't feel. I got used to it. It's worth it because that game is awesome, and especially on the Switch, it looks and plays and feels better than most other games. it's it's
I wouldn't
ridiculous.
sweat too much about the inventory. Like I personally, when I made it through like the top of pub rank, like I played all the content I could when it was there. And I didn't really use many items outside of traps and sleep bombs and stuff, and healing
Mhm.
items. So
Okay.
don't fret too much about that.
Well, I stopped fretting and
Okay,
started slashing.
okay, that's the way to play.
Yeah. No, again, the game is really good, and I told Derek, and it's not a comment on this quality of the game. It's just lately I haven't had anything I felt like I really want to sink my teeth into, so I've just been bouncing between a lot of things, and sometimes I'm just kind of tired, and I'm like, I'm just gonna play something really low key, or something that's like not story heavy, very just mechanics driven, and I keep forgetting that I bought this game.
Mhm.
And I was very excitedly bought it.
When I say it's like a PS2 game, what I mean is like it's very pick up and play.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's not some kind of boring story-driven slog.
You can play for like 40 minutes and be like, you know what, I got my fill. I'm good for today. And
Yeah.
not feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah, when I had the trial, I would do like a mission, and I'd be like, all right, that was a lot of fun. Now
Exactly.
my kids are crying.
Well, it's good for that, especially.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying Rise. I plan on getting back to it soon because I do want to see the DLC because I hear it's quite good, actually.
Yeah, I like the new hub. I did beat Hermitar the first time I encountered him, and he's cool. You know, he's a returning monster, so it's not like I have any insight into the new ones. But the new moves they added for each weapon, the ones for Insect Live at least, are very useful. So
Well, I'm the kind of Monster Hunter player veterans really hate because I got into it with World. So, like, I see a lot of monsters that I don't have experience with, like, oh, this is new. And then I look it up and I'm like, oh, it debuted in, like, Monster Hunter 2 or
There's
something.
a pretty accurate meme about those. I'm sure you've seen it, where it's like you see this weird. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe it's this, and it's like this ugly looking alligator thing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to go back and play some of the older ones because I did try the PSP ones back in the day. I even bought Monster Hunter 3 for the Wii. But I also know like they've made such advances that it'd be so hard to go back that
I
it's
don't see
really
this
not worth it.
series being
Mhm.
one where you go back and troll through the
It seems
archives.
hard. It kind of reminds me of like if you were to get in the Smash Brothers post Melee, going back to 64 for the first time would just be really hard.
It kind
So
of makes me think of like sports games. Like you wouldn't pick up this year's Madden and go, I need to go back and play Madden 97.
no, no, I need to play chronological order.
Right? You need to see the intricate story of Madden unfold.
If only.
Oh, I will say, I did play it in portable mode, and I was actually very impressed.
How did they get that game to run like that on
I
the
was
Switch?
incredibly impressed in portable mode. I
Yeah,
could not believe how good it
When I
runs.
first turned that game on and like saw how it looked, I was like, man, this game should be running at 10 frames per second on the
The
Switch.
best thing I can figure is that the Resident Evil engine is magic, some sort of
mhm.
sorcery.
The reach for the moon engine.
Yes, whatever. You know what I meant.
Hand reached for a moon.
Well, they shouldn't call it the RE engine if it's not Resident Evil.
Oh, come on now. It's called Biohazard in Japan.
That's true, but you know,
Should have called it the BH engine.
That's right. No, it stands for
bowel movement.
yes, bowel movements. Exactly.
They don't know how to spell movements in Japan, so don't worry about it. But okay, well, thanks for the Monster Hunter update. Cheston, what are you up to?
Oh boy. Oh, what am I not up to? Been around lately. You know, we went to the mountains since the last time we talked, I think.
I was there
Oh
too.
yeah.
So yeah, went to the mountains, did some mountain stuff. You know, I did bring the Switch and we played some like party games at night. Played some Switch Sports and Mario
Shredder's
Party,
Revenge.
Shredder's Revenge. You know, but
Were you
that was
out
not.
camping or staying
Nah,
in
we
a
were staying at like
resort?
a mountain home that
Ah,
we rented.
Like you're talking
And
to the wrong people for camping, I'm afraid.
yeah, no,
ah.
we went on some trails and did some stuff in the town that we were in. But you know, with kids, it is kind of difficult to travel with kids. I will say it's just
I would
not that
imagine.
they're difficult children, but they're you know,
Children.
you have to plan around their schedule, and their schedule is not like conducive to doing much. So it would be like in the morning we would go on a hike of some kind, and then by the time we got back, it was time for their nap, and then after their nap, there was a very short window in which we could do anything. So if we decided to go to the town, that was it. That was our whole afternoon. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that was obviously mostly doing mountain stuff. I had family in town, so I was just hanging out with them for a couple of weeks. So gaming wise, my younger brother, not Derek, and I got pretty into Fall Guys while he was here, as it was a pretty perfect pass and play game. He would really he would instigate it. He would just pick up the controller because he was bored sitting in our living room, and he would just pick it up, and we'd just take turns seeing how far we could get. And we had a pretty good time with that. The game went free to play recently, I think June, and it finally came to other platforms. So we were playing it on Xbox and having a fairly decent time. And then when he left, I put it on my Switch so I could play it portably, and also so I could compare and contrast performance because I was curious, and it's interesting what they've done. So the Series X version runs perfectly. You've got all these little thumb people running around, bumping into each other. Looks pretty good, as it does elsewhere. On the Switch, their solution to get it to run at a stable frame rate, because it is crossplay compatible, so it has to run, as well as, or well, at the very least, it has to run kind of like the other versions, otherwise it would really mess up your experience. So their solution was to Derek, and I mean, there's probably examples you have for this, Setzer, but Derek, I know you played Kirby.
Yes.
Okay, so in Kirby in the Forgotten Land, when things were very far in the distance, you know how they ran at like a really reduced frame rate?
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of like Mario 64 when you see Mario in the distance and he's like 2 pixels.
The same stuff happens in Monster Hunter, by the way.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So in Fall
Yeah.
Guys, the way that they get it to run on the Switch is that they make all of the characters besides you run at a reduced frame rate, which
That'll look
is
weird.
it is odd. I do think it. I mean, I think it plays pretty well on the Switch. I think it's a good version of the game if you have no other way to play it. I don't think you would feel compromised. Like our friend Goose has been playing it, and I don't think he even really noticed. I think it's definitely ideal to play it on something like the Series X because I think a lot of the fun of that game is seeing the crowd interact together. But that's neither here nor there. I like Fall Guys because it's a game that is kind of like a battle royale, but I'm also good at it, kind of, because I can actually win and get to the end, which I cannot do in other those types of games. Though I was thinking the other day, I don't think this should be called a battle royale.
It shouldn't be. It should be called the Takeshi's Castle or
Yes, it's a game.
MXC.
It's basically a game show, so it's more like it's kind of like playing Double Dare.
Yeah.
But instead of watching it, because those games were always fun to watch here and there. Now it's like you get all the fun of that, but you get to play. You're part of the experience. We had a very rare thing for me to do. We had a big old game night with it the other night, and we had the craziest experience because I was on the Series X, my wife was on my OLED Switch, our friend Goose was on his PlayStation 4, and his girlfriend was on their Switch, and we were all playing together without having any real issues at all, which was kind of a weird. I know crossplay is not really that novel anymore, but I did think it was kind of crazy that we were playing, across generations, across hardware, without, had I not known, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. I wouldn't even realize they were on different platforms if I didn't know them.
5 years ago, even playing PlayStation and Xbox together would have been unthinkable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I thought that was pretty cool, and it's really nice that the game is on all these platforms now, so you can do that because it's a really good, accessible game that I think is easy for game nights. It's not super involved. You can play solos and just watch each other. You can play in squads and get mad at each other for holding you back. This is my way of subtweeting the Goose because I was keeping our team afloat, and he was always one of the last ones to finish. He and my wife holding us back. Made it past the first round 2 times.
At least your wife doesn't play video games.
Yes, that's true. She does get that pass, and she was actually, believe it or not, she was complaining about the performance on the Switch.
Oh my gosh.
Because she played on Xbox first, and she was like, "I don't like this version. It's laggy." I said, "No, it's just they have the frame rate on the characters. And she's like, "I don't like it."
Well, if you had been a real man, you would have swapped with her.
Well, the problem is, okay. So here's the thing. Let's talk about Epic accounts. Do you have an Epic account? Do either of you have Epic
I don't
accounts?
think I do actually.
No.
I think I do because that's where I bought Hades. Actually,
Oh, yeah, because it was an Epic exclusive for a time.
yeah,
Uh, so this game requires an Epic account, which is whatever. I mean, at this point, you're probably gonna have to get one of these, which I was fine with. So when I started on the Xbox, I guess it gave me a prompt to either sign into an Epic account, which I didn't have, or create one. But when it created a profile, well, no, let's get to that later. So I created a profile. Long story short, created a profile, played Fall Guys. Okay, well then my family left and I downloaded it on Switch. Opened it up on Switch and it said, "Hey, you have an Epic account tied to this Nintendo account." And I said, "Oh." And then I remembered that when Fortnite came out, I did download it and play it on the Switch. And so it tied that Epic account to my Switch, which meant that I couldn't have my progress carry over between platforms. And I thought, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just play a few rounds just to get the hang of it, and then I'll figure this account stuff out later. So eventually, I get on the Epic Games website to try and figure out what emails these accounts are associated with. And I made a shocking discovery that these accounts were not associated with any emails at all. So what happens is that if you play an Epic game on a console and just tell it to create an account, it creates like a secret ghost account that kind of exists but kind of doesn't. And so the process of getting my progress to carry over between the two platforms was pretty nightmarish because I had to get onto Epic Games on like a computer, go in, uh, sign up for an account for each of my different platforms, attach them to an email, and then I had to choose one of them to disconnect from one of the platforms. And so I could go in and reconnect the other one to the account where I actually have progress saved. I just don't really like that. I think that's a bad. I'm not an IT guy, but I think that's a bad choice. Having it make ghost accounts for you because I don't know. It just seemed kind of messy. I don't know. Setzer, you're IT person. That seems kind of messy, right?
Well, I am
I guess I kind
hesitant
of
to
get it.
comment on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not familiar with, their back end, their workflow, and kind of their business goals. But
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get the feeling that maybe their impression was the people who are making these console accounts are not, they're looking for more of a contained experience. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
that's my
and not
suspicion
having to
too.
involve their email, not having to download additional applications on like PC, that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, I think you're probably right. And I mean, that would have been me had I not played it on the Switch and been like, well,
Mhm.
shoot, I have, my brother got my character to level past 32 or something. Well, I'd like to have that and not have to, you know, play with this character with no gear and look like a real clown next to everybody else. But either way, I guess I haven't said what I think about the game. I think it's pretty good. I can get what Derek said, whatever, 2 years ago, when he said that this game doesn't have like him crazy legs. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. There's not a lot to it. Like I said, I'm already good enough at it that I usually get to the last round. But for me, it's just kind of a very relaxed kind of hang out and just drink some tea between rounds kind of game. There's not much more to it than that, which is fine for what it is.
Yeah, if you want something to play for like 10 minutes, you can't go
I
wrong
mean,
with it, I
I can
guess.
play like 20, 30 minutes, play a few rounds, and then move on. So I think it's pretty good for that. And
Yeah.
I think the free to play hooks are. I mean, if you get into them, I'm sure they're pretty bad. But as a free player, I haven't really felt like I'm lacking anything.
Well,
And
and in those kind of free to play games, I take pride in being like
oh
the
yeah, I
boring
wear
simp.
my I wear
So
my helmet with a pride, my
yes,
little free helmet.
like
And
I
quite
beat you, and I don't I don't spend money.
right, I didn't have to spend money to beat you. I'm just naturally better than you,
Yes,
basically.
easy peasy.
So that's Fall Guys, which I guess has been the game I've played the most lately, which is why just the circumstances really more than anything. I've been really busy with work stuff. Gosh, what else has been going on? Give me a second. I gotta think about this. Oh yeah, I'll talk about Mega Man. Mega Man.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
game, good
Let's hear it.
yeah,
franchise.
yeah. I played They put the Wily Wars on the Switch on the NSO. So Wily Wars is the 16-bit remake of 1, 2, and 3,
Hmm.
um, which is it's kind of a historical oddity in America because you can only play it on Sega Channel. It released to retail in Europe and Japan.
Now, for those that don't know what Sega Channel is, that was like you subscribed to your cable service, and it was like downloading games over the internet before the internet was really widely available to the public.
Which is pretty crazy. So obviously nobody in the world actually had that, except for a bunch of weirdos you probably didn't know.
Europe people got a physical release.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, as I was saying, Europe and Japan did get a physical release,
Yeah.
which is nice for them. But it's finally available here. It came in that Genesis Mini, but now it's a convenient way to play it on the Switch. So I ran through it 1, 2, and 3, all of them in pretty quick succession because I don't know. I don't know that the games are any easier with their new graphical palette. I've read online that they're really not, and in fact, in some cases, they're a little bit harder. But I did pretty well breeze through them. It is one of those things where it's like the games certainly look better in 16-bit for the most. I mean, well, okay. I guess technically they look better. Whether artistically they look better, I guess, uh, is up to you. I think they look pretty good, but I think in the future I'll probably just stick to the NES versions. They add some weird things to this one, like there's a little stutter step they give Mega Man so that when you move left or right, instead of just immediately like careening off a ledge, he'll kind of like tiptoe. But the problem is that he does that all the time. So sometimes it can feel like you've got a little bit of a hitch in your get up when you're trying to move around, which isn't really what you want in a Mega Man game. So that kind of bothered me. The only one of these that I think is probably just better to play in this collection is the original game, because I think Mega Man 1 on the NES feels kind of rough around the edges. But in the Wily Wars, it feels on par with 2 and 3, which is a big upgrade. So maybe in the future I'll play 1 on this, but I think 2 and 3 are best experienced in their original format, as most things are.
So I would say it's kind of like Mario All Stars compared to the NES versions.
Yes, but I don't think any of those versions are better on Mario All Stars.
I don't either. NES all the way. I'm just saying, like it's
Maybe 2, but that's because I think 2 is just kind of a bad game, so I don't really care. And I mean, a USA 2. Lost Level sucks also, but everybody knows that.
Yes, even if they
That's not a
pretend
hot take.
otherwise.
It's not a hot
No,
take to say Lost Levels is bad, but saying 2 is bad is sacrilege in some corners.
somehow, it's okay. Not my cup of tea.
But I think that's like, other than like some little things I've just dabbled in for moments, playing Pokemon Puzzle League last night, which is
Intense.
a pretty slick little game actually. It turns out. Other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, I was one you played Pokemon Puzzle League with, and that was an intense time. Let me tell
That
you.
game was fun single player, but man, it takes on a new life multiplayer. That was
Yeah,
some fast and furious tile swapping.
as our friend the Goose used to say about 100-turn Mario parties, I was sweating. I was
Well, there's no such thing as a 100-turn Mario Party.
50-turn.
Thank God. But there's 99 stock Smash Brothers, which is, I believe, is what he was referring
Oh
to.
yes, 99.
We still need to play that Mario Party Iron Man match.
Oh,
Well,
those
you're
eggs.
right. Whenever they add Mario Party 2 to the Switch Online, we'll
Yeah.
have to make it happen.
I don't know. That's tough. 50 turns is a lot of turns.
That's the idea.
Yeah, that's true.
What was the Iron Man? Wasn't it 1 person versus 3 CPU?
Yeah, and you pass the controller every turn.
Oh, well, then we couldn't do it with NSO. We'd have to do it in person. Well, that's fine. We can do that.
Oh boy, what a night.
Yeah, exactly. What a night.
All right, so I guess it's my turn. I want to start with talking about Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, so as you know, I'm a fan of.
I thought it's called 3 Houses.
No, that's the normal one. This is the Musou one. For those that may remember, I went through a little journey where I discovered that I like the Musou genre, which is Dynasty Warriors for you silly gaijin out there. What I like about this game is that it feels like a really good fusion of Fire Emblem and the Musou style. Everything that kind of made Fire Emblem feel like Fire Emblem is kind of here. You have like relationships and different classes you can get into, and like different weapon stats. Just all sorts of things that you typically would associate with Fire Emblem games have made it their way in here. It's similar to Persona 5 Strikers in that regard, where that was a perfect match. Just feels similarly like a perfect match. My one complaint here is that the story is just okay. I was like looking around online to see if anyone else felt that way, and apparently people really like it. But to me, they immediately slap you in the face with this is not canon, because the story is like kind of like a what if someone that's not the main character from Three Houses becomes like the main character for that same group of people in a new game. It's just weird. Like the corrupting force behind the main bad guy is no longer corrupting them. Like they found out pretty quickly. So It's just like a whole what if scenario, which is fine. But what made Persona 5 Strikers click with me so much was that it felt like an actual sequel to Persona 5. Like if you played it back to back, it's like, all right, I can see them going to this location from that. And this one, it's not even, you don't even get to pretend. It's like immediately like, yeah, this does not have any correlation to the game you played and loved 30 years ago. It's just a different thing, which is fine, but it makes everything feel, I don't know, like less weighty. Like it's an alternate universe, so why should I care about this? It doesn't impact the universe I care about. I have a similar complaint to the Hyrule Warriors 2. The name slips my mind at the moment.
Age of Calamity.
Age of Calamity, yes, because that one immediately is like, yeah, you can go back in time, and it's got this this weird little doodad that's not canon, and have fun, but it's not related to Breath of the Wild, by the way. So I don't know, that kind of turns me off. Like I like what if stories, but it would be kind of cool if Nintendo just like let them have the reins and make like an actual sequel style story. And if later on Nintendo wanted to make a Three Houses sequel, they could do it. But whatever, I don't know. That's just me nitpicking, I suppose. But pound for pound, I think this is the most solid Musou I've ever played because it just really amps up the strategy. Like it feels like you're controlling armies, a lot more so than before because you have 4 main characters you control and then 4 CPU allies on story maps anyways that you can kind of command around, so you can give like direct orders to 7 different people and control one on your own. I don't know, it's kind of nice. I think the ability to control different armies and stuff, I don't know, it fits with Fire Emblem. Like it makes it feel like it fits. So I'm a fan. I wish either of you had played Three Houses or had any interest in it. So
Maybe one day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me, dog.
I know you hate good video games. It's okay though. It's okay.
I enjoyed Fire Emblem for the 3DS, but
Well, this one has a competent translation, so
Just too much of a visual novel for me.
fair enough.
Too much of a visual novel without literally just being one. Because if it was just one, I would actually be fine with it.
Yeah, 'cause visual novels are cool. But that's basically what I've been playing the most because I've been busy, and Musou's a very good pick up and play short term game.
We're not going to talk about.
Well, I was about to mention
Okay.
the other thing.
Okay.
I got a Steam Deck since the last
Oh,
time I
there we go.
recorded.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't played a lot on it. Like I play Sonic before going to bed, and Sonic the old school Genesis ones. 'Cause I got Sonic Origins, so it's like HD versions of games that I could play 20 years ago. And
You could talk about your impressions of the hardware.
it's solid. I was the first thing I did, like the first week I had it, I filled up a 1 terabyte SD card with a bunch of ROMs, and for the most part, they all run really well. GameCube leaves a little bit to be desired, but PS2 and Dreamcast and Saturn and stuff all run really well. It's just nice to have a whole collection of stuff where I want to play X game. I'm able to pull up my deck and play it. It's really cool. I can do this on a computer, but I can't play my computer in bed, which is the appeal of the Steam Deck to me. I'm weird. Like I have fun, like going through old game collections and looking for like what ROMs do I want to download today. So I actually had a lot of fun setting all that stuff up. I tried one higher spec game, I suppose. I played Metal Gear Solid 5 very briefly. Runs great. I like it. It feels like it's supposed to, and the text isn't too small or anything. I can read stuff on the screen. It's great.
Well, the screen
So-
is quite large.
It is quite large, yes. The Steam UI will warn you if like some game has been flagged for having small text, but I've launched a couple just to see, and it hasn't been a problem for me. But I also play with the screen relatively close to my face, so I don't know. I also have a dongle that lets me hook up to my TV if I choose to. I messed with that very briefly just to see if PS3 emulator would work okay with a Xbox controller, and it did. So, but I also tried Sonic with an Xbox controller, which is a native Steam game, not a ROM, and that also worked great. So I enjoyed the little device.
I touched your Steam Deck.
Yes, what did you think?
I thought it was surprisingly snappy in terms of loading in and out of games, especially the ROMs. I was surprised. I guess I heard elsewhere, I don't know how you did it, but it sounds like you can just boot into the desktop, the Linux desktop, and like execute a script and it does the rest. Is that what you did?
Yes, you go into desktop mode, you download something called EmuDeck, and then it
Yeah.
just sets up everything. You can you can make it so you set it up manually, but if you press like do it for me, I'm a baby, they'll like make custom sets for Steam Deck specs, and
Yeah,
it's
I
really
didn't
easy to
expect it to
run.
be that intuitive.
Yes.
I don't know. That's not how I thought the emulation would work. So I was impressed by that. I thought that the triggers, I thought all the components felt pretty good.
The buttons feel great. When I play Sonic, it feels like Sonic is supposed to.
No,
That's so.
I thought they felt pretty good.
Well,
uh, but I also am bad for this because I think, and I don't mean any offense to you. I think
why
you
would I
have
care?
larger hands, so
Well,
I
yeah, I
think
do.
I think for you the Joy Cons are very uncomfortable.
They are. I do
And
not
for
like
me,
using
they are the
Joy-Cons.
perfect size because I have tiny baby hands.
Yes. Well, the Switch feels so small when you when you have a deck, and it's just like, whoa, this is a baby console.
Yeah, it's huge. So if I were to give constructive criticisms of the Steam Deck, as someone who doesn't want one and has long professed a disinterest in them, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. The feel of the hardware itself, I thought the plastic felt kind of cheap, but
Yeah.
I kind of expected that.
Feels like a Wii U gamepad.
You got to cut corners somewhere. I felt like Wii U gamepad. You're right. The weight I found to be unpleasant when you're holding it with one hand, but I know that's not the point. I do like to play things one-handed though, so that's going to be a non-starter there.
I have
Um,
Dead or Alive downloaded specifically for you.
yeah, yeah. The big glaring issue for me, the thing I think they really need to fix before they try to, I don't know, put this in stores if they plan on doing that. Screen. I think the screen is not good.
I
I
think the screen's fine. It's better than Switch screen.
no, it's not.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
okay. It looks like a cheap tablet screen.
I don't know. It looks like a screen to me. You're used to the stupid OLED screen, but it looks better than the vanilla Switch screen.
You're right. And most people, if they don't have an OLED, they have a phone with a really high quality screen. And to me, this looks like a cheap Samsung Galaxy tablet.
Well, okay. I
But
don't think so. But
well, it's not a big problem. It is something though that I think other people would really notice. Like when I played Sonic Lost Worlds or whatever, the game ran so well. You could tell it was running at a very high resolution, but the screen seemed kind of dim to me. Like almost like the colors were washed out a little bit because it wasn't. Yeah, basically because it's not an OLED. So yeah, they should put an OLED screen on this thing.
yeah, what the hell? That's not a fair complaint.
Well, I didn't say it was,
uh,
but I mean, wouldn't an OLED screen make it better?
yeah, it would. It would
Yeah,
also
absolutely, it would.
make it more expensive.
Yes, I understand why they. I know that's why they cut that corner there. They wanted to give it big, meaty hardware, and the screen was like, well, it'll look good on whatever screen. So
Well,
whatever.
the one I do have is like the 500 gigabyte one, so it has like the better screen. So I assume like the default model has one
God
that's
only
on.
knows.
I assume it has a screen on par with the original Switch.
I've heard that the original Switch screen is actually of a higher quality, but it's
Well, I
it's
don't
neither
know.
here nor there. I don't want to play on the original Switch screen either.
Well, what I notice like when I play, I notice like less screen reflection when I play with the 500 gigabyte one. You know what I mean? Like I don't see my ugly mug when the screen goes black as vividly as I do when I play a Switch or something. It's a small touch, but I appreciate not constantly having to look at myself.
Uh, I mean, that was more of a problem for me back in the PC days. When
Yeah.
I'd boot up World of Warcraft and the screen would be black for a second, I'd see my cold, unflinching reflection. I knew what I was about to do. Is like, God, couldn't you just watch porn instead? It'd
You
be
saw
less
the chip
destructive.
wrappers passed, like packed up behind you.
Haven't you
The,
played enough already today,
the empty
boy?
beer bottles, the piss jugs everywhere. Like this is
You're
how
not
I live.
you're not even good at this game. Something else.
I don't know. My critique, I think, would be they need to offer a smaller size for people
Oh, absolutely, yes.
because, like, my wife was playing it and she's like, "Oh, I don't, it's kind of big. It's hard to get used to." Like, yeah. For most people, I think it's probably a little too big.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people who think that this is gonna go big. Like
I don't
Gabe was
think
talking about how
so.
it's gonna sell big numbers, and people are talking about how this is gonna go crazy when it goes to store shelves. But I really do think some of those small things they need to address because your person buying consoles at Walmart isn't gonna care that it has so much horsepower under the hood that the Switch doesn't even come close to it. They're gonna look at it and say, it's kind of unwieldy. It doesn't have Mario Kart on it.
Yeah. Well, it needs to be something you would feel comfortable playing in public. Like, I would not take this thing and play it at a bus stop. It is too big for that.
That's huge.
You would look ridiculous. They need to make it. I'm not saying you need to make it the Switch Lite like size, but like in that vicinity, I think. And obviously, it would be lesser power because I think this part of the reason it's so big is because it's got a lot of shit in there.
I will say that I came away mostly impressed, despite having no interest at all. I still have no interest, but I was impressed.
Well, you need a bigger Steam library.
I don't want one.
Oh,
I have
okay.
a very big eShop library, unfortunately.
Did you have any questions about this little device, Setzer?
Not really. I am not really interested in it. Despite being the ostensible main PC guy around here,
Well, why
I don't
would
know.
you have an interest in it? Because it's like a consoleized version of a PC.
Yeah.
It's like it's more. It has like customization stuff, like you can customize like the refresh rates and battery power stuff you can't do for a normal console. But
Mhm.
they simplify a lot of things, so it's like a weird hybrid console PC thing. So I could certainly see why it wouldn't interest you.
I would say there are games I would rather play on my TV, and not a whole lot of games I have the opportunity to play portable because I work from home.
Well, same. I do too, but I prefer to play games. Like I like playing games in bed, which is why the Steam Deck appeals to me. Like it's, I can get more use of my PC games and stuff that the Switch doesn't handle so well. So that's why this device appealed to me. But we will see what the future holds. I personally do not see it being like this mega success like Gabe thinks. But for
Mhm.
people like me, it rules. But people like me are the minority. So do not listen to me when you're going for big selling things. I'm the niche audience.
Yeah, I do think it's always funny when I see people saying like there is some internet forum post I saw where a guy's like, "Oh God, why would you get a Switch and not a Steam Deck? You can run Switch games emulated on the Steam Deck."
I can think
Like,
of
you
a
idiots!
really
There's a
easy
million
reason.
people who don't. That is not a good argument because the people
Well,
you're convincing don't care.
even on a base level, you go into this to the Nintendo eShop, you buy any game on there, 100% of the time it's going to work. On Steam Deck, you go into the Steam store, it may not work on the Steam Deck. It'll sometimes give you like this game does not has been tested by Valve and it is not supported by Steam Deck. So for a normal consumer, it can be. I imagine it would be kind of annoying. I kind of know what to expect, and I haven't run into that myself. But I would. I don't know. I don't think it's for everybody, and I think people on Reddit need to realize that too.
That would require them ever, recognizing someone else's perspective that isn't their own,
Well, of course.
which is
I'm
very
just
difficult.
saying, I would say like if I were to play, let's say like my wife's family was over. If I were to pull out my Steam Deck, it would be like a conversation piece. Like, oh my god, that thing's huge. But the Switch just kind of looks natural. It's small, it's compact.
Can we
It
release
doesn't.
an edit of this podcast where it pull out my Steam Deck, or no, just like pull out the word Steam Deck and just says pull out my,
My
and oh,
deck.
that's huge.
Well,
Whoa,
that'd
put that
be
away, boy.
that would be dishonesty, I'm afraid. Anyway, I suppose that's it for what I've been playing. I have other. I could talk about Sonic, but that game's old. I think you know what to expect of Genesis Sonics by now. So let's just get on to the news.
VGC's Andy Robinson covered Nintendo's commitment to preventing leaks of unreleased game information and prototypes following 2020's Giga Leak. I had to ask, as the resident Nintoddlers, were there any treasures that didn't make it out of the vault last time that you wish had seen the light of day?
Mother's 364. That has always been the dream game. I want to see what was done with that, how far they got, why they decided to cancel it. Well, I think that's pretty obvious why, but I want to see how far they got at least. All sorts of stuff. I thought that leak was really interesting because Nintendo's a traditionally very tight-lipped, secretive company. Not a lot escapes out of there. Like they're the polar opposite of Capcom and Square Enix, where they're just a leaky ship. They even famously canceled Netflix shows because Netflix couldn't keep their mouth shut. So they don't like shit getting out. So when they say they're clamping down, I tend to believe them. I believe that we will see less leaks out of there. What say you, fellow Nindoodler?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, I think that was a rare glimpse behind the curtain.
It was
I would,
cool.
yeah, I would like to see the Nintendo baseball game. I can't remember what his
Yes.
name was.
I think with
GameCube
David
game is
Ortiz
canceled.
on the
Yeah.
cover, yeah.
There was a fabled Next Level Games developed Mario wrestling game after Strikers that I would love to see if anything came of that. There's like I want to see some of the initial Metroid Prime development, like what that game looked like before it became the game it was when it came out, because that game had a really rocky road to creation. Gosh, they don't cancel a lot publicly. Uh,
Publicly.
publicly. They released Star Fox 2, so that one got out there. There are so many things you hear about with like many of their games changing at certain points, like Paper Mario on the 3DS was apparently at some point more like the Thousand Year Door before Shigeru Miyamoto said to throw it out. So would I like to see what that looked like? Yes, absolutely. I'd like to see what that looked
Well,
like.
Shiggy seems to be the main enemy of the Mario franchise. But anytime they want to add personality or story to it, he's like, no, I don't think so. You could use another generic Toad, but don't use a unique NPC. It's too far.
Yeah, that would be too much fun. People would enjoy that too much. No, I would love to see more stuff from them, but I'm also, at this point, I've just accepted that I'm going to get what they put on my plate, and seldom will I get more than that. I will enjoy my scraps.
So, but yeah, enjoy it while you last. It'll probably be a while before we see another one, and then watch like next week there's another big leak. But I expect it'll be a while.
Well, on that note, Vice's Troy Dowd wrote about Diablo Immortal as a showcase of the failure of industry self-regulation. The article includes stories of players spending $50,000 on the game in a single day. I am kind of the opinion that at this point you can't really draw a line between these sorts of games and physical casinos anymore, but what do you think?
You're right. You can't. The idea that we can trust video game companies to self-regulate is laughable. Maybe it worked in the ESRB days, but that was because it was like, if we don't get our shit sorted, the government's going to run wild. And right now, I think our government just doesn't give a shit, so they don't care. So I think games like Diablo Immortal should be illegal.
So I wish one of us had played this game so we could actually definitively state like how necessary these transactions are. From what I'm reading, it's more of like an in-game thing, right? Like once you get to a certain point, if you want to continue to run that in-game loop, you're going to need uh, gems or something, crests. Is that right? Does that seem right? I mean, am I on the right track? Does that seem accurate to what is
It
being
seems
presented?
accurate. Yeah, it's just something that's not called money, so you're not thinking
Yeah.
about what you
Well,
spend.
I do think it's interesting that it happened with Diablo again, because if you go back in time to 2012, when Diablo 3 launched with that auction house, you actually did have a lot of similar but lower magnitude discussions, because at some point you had to have certain kinds of gear to beat that game at certain difficulty levels. And the only way to get that gear without spending hours upon hours was to go to the auction house. I remember one of our friends spending a whole bunch of time playing out those different difficulty levels. And he did not pay money for it, but he did get to a point where he literally could not progress if he did not pay real money on the auction house. I don't think it was $50,000. I assume it was, I don't
Like
know.
10
I don't
or
I don't
something.
yeah, I don't really know what the going rate was on that auction house, but either way, I mean, I think it's certainly not a hot take to say that this is bad. It's like
Right.
this is I don't know how the game encourages it, but just knowing what I know about Diablo, that game is already kind of designed like a casino. You have a lot of shiny bits that pop off. You get loot every time you kill something, and it explodes in a very satisfying way. It has all these extra little notes put onto it so that you feel like you're getting some kind of special deal, in the same way that when you get like, a good pool at a casino, it does all these kind of effects to make you feel special and unique, and that
Yes.
maybe you're the one who's going to get a jackpot. And I imagine that's the case here. And yeah, somebody should probably do something about this, but the ESA has no spine and the FTC has probably less of one. So sadly, I don't think anything's going to happen here.
And also, shame on reviewers that give this game like a good score. Say like, well, it's a good game despite this. Like, I think this despite thing
It's really hard to
overpowers the quality of
separate,
the game.
I think. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
you can say it's a really good game, but at the same time, is it good on its own merits, or is it good because of the way it makes you feel? Like, it's always hard with games, but I think that these games are specifically designed in such a way to create those feelings, those endorphin rush moments, to keep you playing, that I would think it would be hard to separate that from your opinion of the game.
well, I mean,
I
I see
think.
this game getting like 9s, which is ridiculous to me. Like, something with such a big glowing red flag should not be getting such praise. But
I mean, I would think it should just be exempt from review. I mean,
I think so too.
we don't review slot machines,
We don't.
so
Well, that's what they should do. But
I mean, somebody probably does actually. So maybe
oh,
redact that.
that's true.
But I don't know. It sucks. I hate this game. I haven't played it. I would never download it. I hate
Well,
it.
me neither. Well, that seems like a scam, so I wouldn't download it either.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I don't like Blizzard. I don't
Setzer
trust them either.
as our resident Blizz drone. Are you a big Diablo Immortal guy?
our Blizz drone in recovery. We'll
Yes.
have to call up our buddy from Italy.
He doesn't live in Italy. He hasn't lived in Italy for 4 years.
He's practically Italian at this point.
Yeah. See if he
Eating
still loves.
pizza every day.
I did see him playing Diablo 3 on the Switch the other day.
He's still got it. He still knows that Blizzard knows.
Actually, the other one who I talked about with the auction house, I remember a few years ago I installed Diablo 3 just because I hadn't played it in a long time and I wanted to check in, and he was still on my friends list. And man, let me tell you, his playtime, you can never just quite get off the teat, is what I'm saying.
Was it like someone in Civilization maybe?
It was worse. It was far
Wow.
worse. Yeah, it was way
Impressive.
way worse than the 6,000 hours of Civilization that our boy
Woof.
Smooty Smoot plays. Yeah.
Woo wee.
Though, to
That's a
be
lot
fair,
of
I
Diablo.
did see him playing Pikmin 3 Deluxe the other day, so I'll
Me
give him
too.
a pass.
I was impressed.
He's the only other person in the world who bought that game, so every once
I
in a
have
while.
it. I have it too.
You do?
Yeah. I haven't played it, but I have it.
Well, we bought it at launch, so him and I
Yeah.
have a kinship.
I got it on sale, so
When everybody else was playing their new consoles, I was playing Pikmin 3 on the Switch. It ruled. It's a great game. Love Pikmin 3.
Stinky.
No, wait. Do you not like Pikmin? You'd probably like Pikmin.
I've never played Pikmin. I just
You'd
like
probably like
antagonizing
it.
you.
I know. You'd probably like it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks interesting. I just I'm not going to pay $60 for it. So
Yeah, no, dude, $60 is a lot to gamble on, but
go to Cheston's house and steal his copy
yeah,
of
let's
Pikmin
you
3.
borrow my copy.
yeah, 7-hour drive to play Pikmin 3.
Hey, it's
right
only
there.
like a 4-hour game, so you probably it's probably like
You can
6
play it on the
hours.
way back. You just have your wife drive. Like, I'm gonna play Pikmin 3. Way
Or you
back
can just
home.
play it while you drive.
Yeah, that's true.
Cut out the
Yeah,
middle,
why
man.
not?
The old Derek move. That's what I used to do with portable ops. I drive around Carterville and scan for troops to pick up while going to McDonald's and stuff.
What do you mean scan for
Shameful.
troops?
You press a button and it does a local scan for, I don't know what it's looking for, but you
Hey,
can
but it's looking for other portable ops players, then I'm afraid you were in for a bad time.
Well, I got other troops while like driving around Carterville, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Must
I don't know
not
what I
have
was doing, but
if it could find more than 5 PSPs in the area, I would be amazed.
yeah, don't live like me. That was not a good thing to do.
Generally speaking, I think not living like us should be part of this podcast's disclaimers.
I concur.
Amen.
Don't have kids. Don't work in IT. Don't work in
be a
journalism.
Yeah, don't be a journalist.
Don't work in education. Actually, none of these things are good. Don't do it.
Keep your head down and work at McDonald's like a respectable adult.
That's right.
Speaking of monetization, IGN's Adam Bankhurst got the word out that EA is finally ending the decrepit Bioware points system used to purchase Mass Effect and Dragon Age DLC, and making those DLCs free in the process. Can you think of any other monetization relics still clinging to life?
Question. This is killing me.
Uh-huh.
What the hell is Bioware Point? That's
Okay,
the made
let
up
me tell you
thing.
about Bioware points. So, back before EA acquired Bioware, you didn't just buy Mass Effect or Dragon Age DLC with dollars. You bought BioWare points with dollars and then exchanged, i.e., 2,400 BioWare points for the DLC pack, right?
Hey,
And you had to do this up until like just now, basically.
So think like
still?
Microsoft points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I think some of their games that were sold on Steam, you could eventually buy the DLC through Steam, but even I, like when I bought Effect 2 on Steam, you allegedly had to buy the BioWare points to buy the DLCs.
So, like the Old Republic, would that have required Bioware points for some of that stuff?
I think that was the exception because that came out after they were purchased by EA.
Right. Okay. So then we're looking at. Gosh, I can't even think back that far. I mean, Dragon Age DLC. I'm guessing, like
Dragon
Dragon Age
Age,
Origins.
Mass Effect, and this is for PC. I think on like consoles, you could buy them through the console storefront.
You could.
But
Speaking
yeah,
from
on PC,
experience.
you had to buy BioWare points, and I think that still applied to Mass Effect 2 as well.
Oh yeah, the press release made it sound like it was like a lot of like basically all Dragon Age 2 DLC, all Mass Effect 2 DLC, all that stuff. The Cerberus network, the much beloved
Yes.
Cerberus network.
Oh yes.
I'm stunned any program like this was still around. I kind of thought Nintendo was the last
Well,
holdout.
I don't think Nintendo was the last one. I think Microsoft was the last one to convert because Microsoft had a sweet little gambit with their Microsoft points.
Yeah, but like the Wii points were similarly like impossible
Well,
to
but no,
figure.
Wii points were easy to discern because Wii points were 2,000 is $20. So it was basically just put a decimal in the middle of the number, and that was how many dollars you
Right.
had. So that all, I mean, that was at least easy to translate, though it was still stupid. I remember now PSN always had money, like actual money, and I think they still do this. So isn't really decrepit currency, but when you buy something on PlayStation, do you not have to always have at least $5 in your wallet? There's like a wallet function.
No. Well, if you're spending something that if you're buying something that's like 50 cents, like an avatar, you have to make a purchase of at least $5.
Right.
So what'll
That
happen is
that
that
is
you
what I'm talking about.
yeah, so
That.
what'll happen is you buy that and then it'll add the remaining to your
Yeah.
wallet.
Don't like that. That's not a
No, it's
currency, but I
stupid.
don't like that.
It sucks. It's
I
a
mean, I
bad
get when
system.
I go to like a local mom and pop and they're like, well, you gotta pay, if you're gonna use a card, you need to spend like $6. But it's Sony, come on. Come on.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that.
That's ridiculous. Gosh, I don't know that any of those are hanging around.
I don't know if that still exists because I'm pretty sure I've bought games for less than $5. I don't remember having to do
Uh,
that, but
You know what? I've always personally preferred more than these weird archaic currencies is uh, archaic ways of representing data on a console.
Hmm.
So Nintendo used blocks all the way through the 3DS life cycle. Like, when you
yeah.
downloaded a 3DS game, it would tell you how many blocks you had left. And it was like, and it was a weird, like, the number was not one that was easy to interpret. Like, I felt like the GameCube, when it had blocks, it was at least like, I feel like my mind had wrapped itself around the math going on there.
I
Like, I understood
guess.
the value of a block on the GameCube. But man, the blocks on the 3DS, it just felt like inflation went nuts. Like, who even knew what one block was worth anymore?
Yeah, it sucked.
What really bothered me was when you would get GameCube memory cards, some of them would refer to their data, like the advertising would call it like a 16 megabyte card, which meant nothing on the GameCube. So even today, when I go back and try and find specific models of GameCube memory cards to look up weird, obscure facts that only I care about, like figuring out what they're called is hard because it'll be like, oh, this is the 8 gigabyte memory card or 8 megabyte memory card. But I don't know because I think about it in terms of blocks. There was like a 51 block GameCube memory card that came with the system, or the one that came at launch. You had the 251, which felt like freaking buying a terabyte solid state drive back then.
Yes.
Having 251 blocks, like, get
That was
out of here.
crazy. Yeah.
I remember
Are
getting
those
the.
imperial or metric blocks?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's based on the size of the king's pinky. And then the 1,000 block one, I think I eventually got. I mean, it was like, man, I could just rent. I could never delete my rentals off my memory card and be fine.
You could save 2 whole Madden replays on the 1,000
But
block
it
one.
was like, remember when you'd rent games and then like when you unrented them, you took them back, you had to delete them off your memory card because
Well,
you ran
hell,
out of space.
Animal Crossing came with a memory card.
Animal Crossing at the Blockbuster, when I rented it, it came with the Animal Crossing memory card.
Because it was so big.
And I believe I had, because at that time I had this is a very boring story. I had the 251 megabyte memory card, so I believe I transferred that data so that when I bought the game, I could, I had this whole system so that I didn't lose my data. Is what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong about that. Maybe I'm wrong, and somebody like torched my town to the ground
Probably.
when they got my Blockbuster copy.
Your town immediately got deleted by someone.
Well, my town got messed up because, man, I miss memory cards all of a sudden. Because on the GameCube, the coolest thing about that memory card with Animal Crossing was if you plugged in a memory card into slot 2, the towns on those memory cards would interact. Did you ever get to experience this, Setzer? I know you had a GameCube.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was very contentious because Derek had made a profile on his memory card, and I had the one on the rental memory card. And if we kept them plugged in together, his town looked better than mine, so people would just leave en masse. So whenever I would play Animal Crossing, I have to remember to take out Derek's memory card, lest my townies leave. So it's like, basically, I created a prison state because the idea of losing my people to Derek was just killing me. I had shirts and everything designed to, denigrate Derek's stupid town.
That was my town named Midgar because I'm a loser. What was yours?
Annaville.
Oh, I thought it was Paradise.
That was actually, so I definitely did lose my rental town because Paradise was when I bought the game.
Okay.
Annaville was when I rented the game and I was like, I don't know what to call this place. It's a village full of animals. Annaville.
Yeah, I just named it after the town I was living in at the time.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't create a new name. I didn't bother.
Oh.
Coolest town member was Cube. He was the man.
No, Bob
he had the
was
GameCube
the coolest
shirt.
Town member. Yes, he had the GameCube shirt. I know. But I liked Bob. But anyways, I know that's a long way from the question you asked. I'm glad Bioware points are dead.
Same.
But if anybody else has got some weird non-free-to-play currencies hanging out, I'd love to know it because
is Robux and USD?
Robux. Well, I said besides free-to-play stuff because obviously V-Bucks are not in like regular currency form. V-Bucks are basically like Microsoft points. I want to say it's 1,600.
What about MLB stubs? Are those like? Do you have to buy those to buy MLB The Show DLC?
Probably.
I don't play these crappy games. So
Nintendo does have. I mean, you have the gold points on Switch.
Yeah, but that's rewards stuff.
That's rewards points, and they're very easy to interpret.
Well, Microsoft also has rewards points, which are like impossible to interpret.
They do? They have rewards points? Oh,
yeah.
Well, they do have them, but I thought you were going to say, have you used those? Because I think you have to be a weirdo to get those.
The point values are so high to get like even a $5 gift card.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so I know a guy who's like, and he always, I haven't talked to him about it in a long time because it just gets kind of, he turns into like a shill. Because he'll be like, why aren't you using your Microsoft Rewards points? He's like, all you have to do is like, if you play a new game on Game Pass every week, or if you do this and that. And I've tried to explain, like, I do not want to turn my leisure into some kind of weird job.
And even then, the points are so much that
he's like, I downloaded Bing so I can get rewards points when I search things.
Oh God!
No, I'm not gonna download Bing. And like when we play games together on Xbox. Like, if you get an achievement, your first achievement of the week, it'll be like, oh, hey, open your rewards to see what you got. Or to claim them, because you have to claim them. And whenever it pops up, I'll be like, nope, there's another reward I'm not gonna claim, and he gets so mad when I say that. It's like all you have to do is press a button to claim it, and I'm like, I do not. The act of pressing that button to me is so much of a barrier to entry. There's a 0% chance I'm gonna click that button and claim that reward.
Well, I've looked through the reward stuff, and like it's just untenable. I don't
There are
know how to.
communities. I will send you a link. There are communities of people dedicated to gaming this system for Microsoft specifically.
Well, they're introducing one for Sony called Stars, and people are excited about the prospect. But I'm like, you guys don't know what you're in
Don't you
for.
know reward systems are just like a big scam, anyways?
They suck.
I mean, the Nintendo one is at least like it's giving me rewards for something I'd already do.
The Nintendo ones at least make sense for me because
Well, all it is from buying
yeah,
games.
exactly. Like I
So
buy
it's like,
something, I get
I
like
would
20 cents. I get
was
it.
gonna buy a game anyways, so I guess here it is. It's kind of like the theater rewards. Like I always thought those were good because I mean I'm gonna go to the movies, I guess. So might as
I
well get
guess
rewards points.
maybe we're just old and we don't understand these complex systems.
Well, I just think they're weird and like it gamifies stuff that I don't want gamified. Like I think you have to be so obsessive about it to make it work. Oh, actually, my Amazon Prime rewards points are easy to accumulate and don't require much time and effort. Just requires you to have children they have to spend money on, so then you get a kickback for doing so.
Imagine having children. Can't
I,
relate.
I cannot recommend it. They're wonderful children, but my God, is it expensive?
I imagine so. I
Yeah.
imagine so.
It's like
And
buying
Setzer's got 6 of them.
It's like buying 4 PlayStation 5s a month.
That's a lot of PlayStation 5s.
Yeah.
Just put him to work, man.
Yeah.
Child? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
He's
Income flow.
You know what?
Passive income right there.
I saw him do an art the other day. I should have sold it. Like
yeah.
I know NFTs
Mint that
are
as an
like,
NFT.
NFTs are. I know they're kind of like passe at this point, but
It's bear market, buddy. It's hibernating. Wait till it wakes up, then you'll be set.
that's right. And then my son's artwork, his little drawing of baby school, will go on the market and get top dollar. His crummy drawing of Tayo the little bus is just gonna set the market aflame.
And the Tayo community, that would sell for quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All the people writing Tayo fan service or fan fiction.
Tayo community.
Oh, every stupid show's got a community. So
I know it does.
it's a very annoying society we live in.
Hey, you're just mad because you're not part of any communities.
That's why I choose not to be. I find most people that are into the games I like are really annoying. Specifically,
oh well, so do
Kingdom
I.
Hearts.
Absolutely. I am on a Nintendo. I am part of a Nintendo community, and I always am annoyed by my peers. They are still complaining that there's not been a publicly sponsored Nintendo commercial for the summer.
Because you're so much better than those guys.
Oh,
those losers.
Well, trust me, you should check it out. You would think.
No,
I
believe
that back. You would take that back, buddy. The begging for a commercial for video games. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here on my 20 game high backlog, going, please stop announcing games.
I'm kind of, if they were like we were making new video games illegal, I'm like, okay, I've got enough of a backlog.
Yeah, I'm good now. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I've got enough. I have plenty. My cup runneth over.
Yeah, I didn't even buy anything in the Steam sale.
I was playing a game in the car today on the way to the pool, not driving, mind you, that I bought 2 years ago and was having a grand old time with it and thinking, God, why am I buying new games when I have all these other games that I've paid money for that I should just be playing?
I actually bought a lot of shit in the Steam sale.
Actually,
but that was because I want to get stuff for my deck. So.
Dead Cells is pretty crazy. They added a bunch of stuff to Dead Cells. I got Gordon Freeman's crowbar.
Wow.
Yeah. That said, I have thought about buying that Portal collection for Switch.
Portal's a good game.
Yeah, I've heard it runs at 60 on the Switch.
I fucking hope so.
Well, I know, but it's a Switch, so I don't know why you'd ever expect that it would.
Portal and Portal 2 are like over a decade old. Like,
well, yes, but I guess they haven't upgraded it on any of the consoles. So it's just unless you play on Switch or Steam, you're not going to get those upgrades.
I got you.
And I was thinking, it has been a long time since I played Portal 2. And Portal 2 is a very good game.
It's good. It's a little overrated. Portal 1 is better.
I don't think it's overrated. I think they're both fantastic.
I think Portal 2 overstays its welcome.
I've always wanted to play the co-op again. I've heard the co-op's very good. I haven't played it since Goosey and I gave Setzer a hernia playing it.
Oh, I bet that was
Gives me
just a
connections.
blast to watch.
we were very easily amused by the physics of Portal 2.
Well, that's the fun part of those kind
No,
of games.
it wasn't just that. You were also very, very bad at solving the puzzles that were very,
But listen,
very easy.
when you're watching a puzzle being solved as opposed to playing it, it's easier to see those things. But
You would hate watching me play any puzzle game.
I will tell you, I don't know if you all have the same thing. You know how your taste buds change every several years or something?
Sure,
What?
you get
Like,
more accustomed.
Every
to
once in a while,
different-
you like something you didn't used to like or whatever.
Hmm.
I have found that the games I played when I was between the ages of 16 to 22, like I don't know if I was comatose or what, but when I go back and play them, I discover so many things I had no idea about. And like things that I thought were hard or easy, things that I thought were easy or hard, things that I thought were like very like shallow, just have so much depth to them without fail. So I imagine if I played Portal 2 again, I imagine I would do one, much better at the puzzles, and two, I would be floored by the details in that game.
I mean, I'm totally with you. I think I played Final Fantasy VII at some point in like 2008. After, I beat it a few times before that. But I was playing it, and I was like, what's this shit about Zack? I don't remember this at all.
It's like, did I have a stroke when I played this game the last time? Because I don't remember any of this, and like it just seems so much more vivid now. Like wow.
Yeah,
It blows my mind. I also play games a lot differently now than I did then.
I play JRPGs like a real
play
man.
them slowly and try to get 100% completion against my better judgment.
Used to be very anti-side
It used to be very much about mainlining, but that is not the case anymore. I was playing Ocarina of Time yesterday, and I was talking to every villager. And I'm pretty sure I saw lines of dialogue I've never seen before.
That's what I did in my most recent replay. It was very satisfying getting all the heart pieces because I'd never done it before, but it was really cool.
I was talking. Did you know there's a tutorial hut in Kokiri Village?
I sure did.
I never knew that existed. I never knew there were characters who told you how to play the game.
Turns out exploring the game has its benefits.
Well, I didn't enjoy any of those conversations, but I was still I just thought you had to learn how to play it, but here it is. They tell you.
When you play a classic like that, though, like it's kind of cool to see new stuff, even if it's not the best stuff.
That's why I like playing old games, because I really do think that I was an idiot when I played them before, and now I am a little bit less of an idiot. And it just, every time I'm like, I appreciate this a lot more than I used to. Yeah, this is really cool. I like this game. And that's my campaign slogan. Buy old shit. Burn the new shit.
Buy old or emulate old.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
Oh, absolutely. Go back to the N64 aesthetics, the best video games I've ever looked.
64 is such a good system. I love it.
All right. Well, that will do it for us this week then. Hopefully we'll be back next week, but it's summer. You never can tell. But until next time, you can reach us on email at alltodaypodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter at alltodaypod. This is Derek.
Setzer.
And Cheston.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Adios.
See ya.
Love is sweet. Yes, I'm cooking for my son and his wife. It's his 30th birthday. What there is into my bowl at the milk of 2 months ago? It's more than mom, isn't it?